All right, let's see if that works.
It wouldn't overdose me.
You might have said that live. They might have just heard, it wouldn't overdose me.
Well, no, I mean, it's like I took these around 6:30 and it's 11 o'clock now, so I'm probably fine. Hello, everybody.
Hey, chat. We're live in
You
the pre-show
coward.
time.
Why would you leave me to die?
I
Do
didn't...
you hate me?
What? I said, hey, chat, and Ella just queued in.
Ella's always there waiting, watching.
I didn't even know. I thought I had voice... Voice attack isn't on my bar running.
No, voice attack is in your soul.
Seriously, voice attack is not up anywhere on my screen right now. Is it running as a background process? That's creepy. She's becoming sentient.
Hi underscore, hi all. Grakees, you see that message in chat from underscore?
Oh, yeah, thank you. I can actually do that right now because I can have Doublar on screen and do stuff with this new setup I have.
He can do stuff with me, and I can't stop him.
Nope, not at all. Dashboard. Oh, actually, no, I gotta go here. Not dashboard, my actual channel. Thank you for notifying me of that. Let's get the branding right.
And let me... Oh, no one... Oh, cancel. That explains why I can't find stuff.
There we go.
Thanks to the host, Russian J.
Russian J, thank you for that host. We're setting up... Now it says Late Night Vacuum Podcast.
There we are. I've just updated my resolution, which may hopefully make me look... My hair...
Now you're gigantic in the screen.
Sorry about that. For me.
Now there's a picture-in-picture with fuzziness.
I'm mucking around.
That's awesome. We don't know what we're doing. That's why it's episode 1, take 3. We really, really mean it this time.
We've bought toys and are having fun.
We're going to be getting an overlay soon. And we're going to have awesome, fun clips and things. Aw, ducks! I don't know why that made me say that, but that's just so cute.
It's how myself and my quackers run.
Doublar's a quack.
Okay, hey Poim, hey Panda. Okay, I probably shouldn't have ducks.
Ducks.
Ducks. Ha! They'll save every one of us.
Okay, let's bring up... There we go. I can bring up everything I want to on this screen to read from it now. While I'm actually making sure the images are right. That's awesome! Now I can go down here. Dev tracker. Oh, I need a lot more of the dev tracker. Hello, Cyberwolf. We're setting up and in our pre-show and saying hi to all you guys. And finding out we can actually do cooler things than we thought. And hamsters.
Hello. We're just getting a report from our frontline correspondent, Hammy Hamsterton. Hammy, well, how is it in the
Hammy's off screen a little bit. Move him over.
In the Stanton system?
Oh.
So nervous you can barely form a sentence.
Now, Hammy, we had reports that there was rioting and looting starting there. Can you give us any more information on the rioting and looting on Stanton 3?
I'm afraid he's unable to speak. His mouth appears to be full of sesame seeds. And
he's looting seeds too. Oh. Hammy, we told you no looting sesame seed shops while the rioters were, going out of control.
That is unfortunately... Oh no, I'm finding things that I should not be putting up. Oh,
Have to keep it within TOS.
well, let's just check. Yeah, yeah.
That is within TOS. The language flag, by the way, is up for this episode because the things we will be talking about likely will make me swear a lot.
Yeah, it's one of those ones.
So just a warning to anyone out there that normally knows that, I try to keep the swearing to a minimum. Certain things get me up and running and to the point where words will happen. And there is no better expressive words than some of those swear words I can think of. So, yeah.
So, yeah. So, yay.
Chat rules must be maintained.
Yes. We're the only bad forces on the today. I'm not forming sentences. Excuse me while I medicate.
You'll feel much better. Oh, the unicorn. It'll give it magic powers.
Unicorns give me the magic powers as well. Oh, yeah, I got myself a really nice T-shirt. Do you remember? Wasn't 10 for the Writers, it was last week's one where it had the unicorn T-shirt guy.
Yes, vaguely.
I may have just bought that exact T-shirt.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So we're doing a pre-show right now. Just kicking back. Grakees, my head is massive, and also you can see a lot of my face.
Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah, I know. I can't shrink it further with you having the higher resolution set up.
Okay, so I'll go lower resolution.
Yeah, if you shrink it back to that lower one that you had initially, then it'll perfect. You'll see it in a few seconds.
And remember to take your medicine, everybody.
I have a box that reminds me. Ooh, that's probably going to green screen out. Yep.
As a social non-main stream update, I finally got painkillers for my leg. So I'm on them as of about 5 hours ago. Sleepy times. But I'll get better.
So yes, if Doublar's a little bit out of it too, then it's going to be a relaxed podcast.
Yes. It's going to be a very relaxed podcast.
Playing with the sounds.
Just getting my voice back.
Oh, I can't wait until those other ones show up. Oh my God, static.
Yeah, it's what I do. Sorry.
Oh God, you're going to kill the ears of our viewers.
Our viewers have no ears.
No.
They listen to us long enough.
Oh God, that's really. I'm waiting for them to scream in chat.
How is this one? Is that better?
A little bit.
Oh dear, that means it's still terrible.
How about that?
That
much better?
That's much better.
Good. I'm back to my sound settings. Okay, so I'm kind of good whenever you are, Grakees. What about chat? Are you ready?
I want to see them get that hype up. Chat, get that hype up for the show start. I want to see all the hype, all the hugs.
That's the Morse code for hug.
It is? Oh, I need to learn the Morse code for hug actually now. It has to happen.
My name's Morse, James Morse.
I'm seeing that hype.
Woohoo! La hype. La heap.
All right. We can harmonize.
In 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
Stop. Cool.
Welcome, one and all, to another episode of Late Night Vacuum. I am Grakees, and here with me, as always, is the wonderful co-host and amazing partner on this stream, Doublar Thackery.
Well, thank you very much. And already I question everything you've just said. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here. We've got quite a fun-packed episode today, actually. There's been a lot of stuff going on, hasn't there, Grakees?
Yes, there has been. And I just noticed in chat, someone said, another? It's episode 1. I guess they're right.
You see, we're like George Lucas in that we'll keep remaking the classics until we get it right.
Or we'll remake episode 1 over and over until it's not terrible, finally?
Well, this is there's a thing about open podcast development, in that iteration is what happens when we release the first version of this podcast. We shouldn't expect, and our audience shouldn't expect, that it is obviously the finished final version. We need to iterate and move forwards, and we're doing this, and I hope that they're along for the ride.
Most certainly, though we are getting notes back that people want the final version of the podcast right now, instantaneously, and they want features that for the podcast that we had planned out for far in the future to somehow magically appear now. I guess I'll pull a wand out of my ass and make it happen.
Well, I think the biggest thing people have been looking for is, I mean, they've obviously been having the controller debate, so, who leads the discussion. But to be honest, I think it's just whatever feels right at the time. If you want to lead Grakees, or I want to lead, then by all means, we should just let it happen naturally.
Oh, yes. It's a natural process usually is much, much better. Oh, my ire's already getting up.
Out with anger, in with anger.
I thought you were breathing in the scent of disgust that I am emanating right now.
Do you know we need those animated lines coming off us going?
Yeah.
So Sally Wolf says they want everything now. Must be starters and backers.
No, not at all.
Well, that's a mic drop. So there had been a few things, but let's come to that slightly later. But we'll do a quick check of what we've been playing. What we've been playing.
I can't hit those notes. I can't follow you on that. What
Nope.
we've been playing.
I don't.
Sorry, went low with it.
You have. I don't call what I've been doing notes. There were more kind of flat plateaus. So what have you been playing this week, Grakees?
This week it's been some XCOM. I definitely played some XCOM this week and killed off some chat people. Prior to XCOM, I'm trying to remember what I was playing, and I don't remember.
To be honest, I was really liking you playing XCOM, but at the same time, I don't know if I was like the rest of the chat. I may have got a bit shouty to the screen. Have you never heard of tactical movements?
I have, but it's so boring to stream it that way.
No, it's the joy comes in the emotional attachment you can form for your troops.
Move, cover,
But
cover.
You may not have that feeling because you move so fast.
I know,
They
I didn't do
don't
my usual
survive.
slow move and cover that I would normally do, but it takes so long for a round that way. Like, if I'm on my own, I play it that way. But then I got back to Elite. I played some of that and did some combat in Elite.
Oh yeah. What I don't think we've talked about this in stream, have we, in the podcast? How was your trip back?
I
from
think we did
Sagittarius?
talk about it.
No, that happened on Friday, didn't it? Last week?
No, it was 2 weeks ago, I'm pretty sure.
Really, 2 weeks ago?
I think it was 2 weeks ago now.
All I know is that even as you were picking up on Elite Dangerous again, you could still see the hurt.
Oh, yes, there was so much money lost. I got nuked and wiped like in 5 seconds. Someone shows up in a much larger ship from a much farther distance, and there's no defense. And he didn't show up to pirate. He didn't show up for any play value other than to destroy me. And yes, it's legitimate, but I would have ducked that for the sake of, all that travel time if the servers had allowed me to be in solo mode. Typically, I'll play in open, but being mostly damaged in a ship without weapons or defenses, I was like, yeah, I need to be in solo mode. and that didn't turn out so well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I got fucked up hard.
That was it was shocking. I was absolutely stunned. And to be honest, that's the kind of thing where could I ever have come back to the game after that big thing? But you've
I can.
managed to. You're a better man than me.
Because I'm going to
Um,
hunt him down and destroy him slowly and methodically. So I'm going to earn the money. I'm going to get the ships. I'm going to find out where he stays, and then I'm going to destroy him. And then I'm going to go to where he stays again and destroy him and make him hide in solo mode forever and ever and ever.
fear the Grakees with a hobby. So what else have you been playing?
I just got Into the Stars.
What is Into the Stars?
Think FTL, Faster Than Light,
Uh-huh.
but on steroids graphically and with some different mechanics and systems in it to like search planets and mine and do
Oh,
discoveries and
that just unlocked today, didn't it? Actually.
yes it did. And
Oh,
I played it for about 20 minutes just to make sure it ran because I plan on streaming it and it was wonderful.
awesome.
Also played some H1Z1 off stream a little bit. Did some of that. I also think I played that on stream Battle Royale Day on Monday, possibly. Yeah. What have you been playing though?
Well, that's a good one. I've actually, as regular listeners know, I'm a streamer as well, although I haven't been streaming quite as much due to some personal health issues. But this week, I actually streamed some Interstellaria. Very hard to pronounce because I keep pretending to be Matthew McConaughey. But yeah, it's basically so Upright. I will say this is a game I wholeheartedly recommend everybody get. It doesn't come out until the 17th of July, so this is going to date this recording a little bit. But think of it as a 16-bit chiptune roguelike, semi-roguelike. There's random. No, it's random events.
Okay.
Trading game
Oh, cool.
where you can control a ship, get ship components, fly it around, manage the crew. Get up to I think 4 ships you can control and fly. Have space battles. Do all of that and kind of then explore and fight creatures in a very like Terraria 2D kind of plane. It's made by Cold Rice Games. It's basically one person. I think this is their second game, and I cannot recommend it highly enough.
It looked interesting. I saw you playing it a bit.
I had so much fun with it, although I died a little inside. So I'm what I think the doctors have a technical term for it. I'm a lefty,
Yep.
and so I basically decided to fully embrace this for gaming about 5 months ago, and I switched everything around for a left-handed person. Apart from my HOTAS, but that's okay because that works well for me. And so they've got on-screen prompts for which mouse button you must press.
Oh.
Exactly, so it doesn't flip. So very righty friendly, but that then kind of I think threw me for a loop. So I played for a couple of hours thinking, oh, this is the bee's knees, loving every second of it, thinking I was saving, but I wasn't.
Oh no.
So I started it up again the day after. I went, no. I managed to completely, get up to speed and beyond with relatively short time. But it was like, oh my god. But I can honestly tell you, it's like FTL meets Starbound meets Terraria. With fast forward buttons, so you can automate discovery as much as you can, but
Nice.
equally you risk it because if you can run into things that you can't control. So you've got like a little bit of skip to the fun. Oh my god, I've moved too fast. I am dying.
That's always the fun of it.
But yeah, it's up there as one of my fave games. I also played some Star Citizen, which was great.
Nice.
Um, I was quite confident because I'd been playing a little bit previously, getting my skill up, but I it had been so long, so bang, went straight in. I I kid you not, within the first 20 seconds, an asteroid snuck up at me. And it wasn't even a small asteroid, it was like a moon. And it was like, no.
That's no moon.
I have not learned anything.
Star Citizen. Don't worry, we'll get you right and flying at some point.
Yeah. So there's been that. But yeah, it's been quite good. But now we've had quite a week.
Wow.
We've had since we last were here, we had a 10. We had a monthly letter. We had a 10-4. We had a couple of interesting forum posts, and we had ATV, and each of them had their own wee thing. Grakees, what sticks out to you? And now that's like pulling the pin.
Yeah, the post. That's what stuck out to me most of all. The post.
Now, what post would this be?
This would be Ben Lesnick's post on the forums titled Some Thoughts on Concerns, where he goes through 3 full-size post pages. No, four, sorry. He goes through 4 postings to fit it all in, and even says, apologies for the dev tracker spam. This post was a bit too long.
That was quite sweet. He's obviously never seen when the writers have their flurry of updates. So I think most people who follow Star Citizen have a sense that things have been quite special of late. A mixture of where's the FPS plus I think some general bubbling concerns which are being fueled by that. And it has led to, shall we say, a rather contentious set of opinions.
Yes.
I think the most amazing thing is that when you're in conversation with a person directly, it so often doesn't become a binary thing. But when you use the internet, everything becomes yes or no. There are no shades of gray. And very little kind of ground to give. And
we become the computers. We have an on switch and an off switch. That's it. Ones and zeros.
Yeah. Pew. Fuck you. So there's, shall we say, I hate the community. But there's been things which have changed that this week as well. But this one was fantastic. Grakees, do you want to kind of...
To summarize, it's a post that Ben never should have had to have made. Ben should not have had to have come out with this multi-page post to shoot down numerous, and you know what? People are going to call me a white knight, or they might call me out on this, and I'm going to be straightforward. I've been critical of Star Citizen where it's deserved criticism. I have come out and said there are balancing issues. I've said that the leaderboards are extremely detrimental to the overall health of testing out the game as it is in a test phase. But that's what people tend to forget. Once again, it's in test phase. It's an alpha. It's a sandbox to help gather data with a game wrapped around it that isn't even a completed game. It's a fun little thing, but people take this as a serious game that should be up and running completely and totally right now because you gave them a shiny toy that is a part of a series of toys that will eventually form together to make Star Citizen Voltron game. And Ben never should have had to have done this. And some of these things are absolute, utter bullshit fucking conspiracy theory mental, just where the hell is this coming from? It's clickbait, it's nasty, it's vitriol, it's disgusting. And the internet can get that way at times, but I really, really, really expected more of people who are backing an idea and putting their money into it ahead of time. Not this entitled, ravenous hyena bullcrap. And yeah, I went with crap instead of shit there, but fuck it, don't care. Yeah,
No, that's just the writer in you.
yeah, see what I meant about language chat? There are certain things out there that get my ire up, and this is one of them. That they have to take their time out to go through and respond to things like Star Marine is delayed indefinitely, which it's not. It's absolutely not delayed indefinitely. That was a clickbait headline that everybody latched onto, and it's. I mean, there are games out there that did deserve criticism and overpromised and everything else, but they were far, far, far further in development. This is stuff that we wouldn't even be barely hearing about if this was coming out of any other studio out there.
Right. So now what I'm doing is I'm just opening up another window, so I can, one, call you a white knight, and two, check when you funded, to tell you that therefore I funded earlier, so I have more authority. So that's, shall we say, you can reading between the lines. I think you got a bit emotional there.
I did get a bit emotional, and I'm actually going to respond directly to chat, which we normally don't do during the podcast. For example, Cronin just said, Grakees people put a lot of money in the game. You're saying they don't deserve to see development status. That's pretty far out there. Not true at all. I'm not saying that they don't deserve to see development status. They are seeing development status. We are getting ATV posts. We're getting updates from the studios. We are getting letters from people. We got a letter from Chris Roberts himself. What I am saying is that people doing knee-jerk reactions to clickbait headlines and going off the deep end and saying, I haven't seen an update on this one thing that I want in X amount of time, therefore everything is going to hell in a handbasket, is the wrong approach. Critical concern is one thing. Doom and gloom is destructive. That can rip apart a community. And on a game that's built on community, that can start tearing apart the thing that they've invested in and love. So it can become a self-fulfilling prophecy that is fed by the people doing this. So asking, hey, is there anything available for me at this point, is one thing. And when people have asked that, Ben, for example, came back and said, no, sorry, we don't have anything on the Banu right now. Here's some pictures that we used to have. We just don't have anything at this moment. This is the way it is. It's part of the development process. It's part of the cycle.
Well, that is true, and you've got to be very careful about sometimes things that are said online. Because, I mean, for example, did you know that Glenn Beck raped and murdered a young girl in 1990? If you say these things long enough, they will stick in the public consciousness, and there's been an awful lot of people who, through not seeing or not feeling as if they aren't getting the responses, have magnified these as little wedge points or arrowheads that go into the body of the community and unfortunately the general psyche. But the interesting thing for me is that I think Ben was absolutely right to make this post.
Oh, he was right to, yes.
Yeah, because I think this was glorious, glorious communication. I do think, however, that the community, it's kind of, well, I don't want to say the community is wrong, because we are, in a sense, the community, all of us. And even though there are fringes and worrywarts and various other kind of groups, they are still part of us, and they're manifesting their worries. I do think that it shouldn't have got to this. I think CIG have been exceptionally open in their posting and their commenting. I also think, however, that no matter how open they are, there will always be people wanting more. And like if you say something is black, you say something is white, they'll go exactly what shade of black, what shade of white.
Yep.
And that can be a very hard thing to feed in. But at the same time, this has been the most refreshing cut across the bullshit commentary that I've seen from CIG in a good while, and I'd love more of this. It's just that I don't want it to be more of this plus that kind of poisonous community. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And that's where I'm going with it. People have a right to critical concern when they're backing something like this and putting, their belief or their faith into the project, into what the CIG is doing. If they see something that is a cause for concern, critical concern is a good thing when
Absolutely.
presented as critical concern. There's a huge difference. There's a freaking canyon between where we were at critical concern and now where the other side is standing on the canyon there, in this gap of just lava and fire and death, where it's gone to vitriol. And vitriol becomes, no matter what anyone says, somebody is going to just freak out over it. You're not giving me enough. You're not doing this enough. You're not going my way enough. And that can actually cause developers also to withdraw. They can pull back in, because if the forum becomes a place of vitriol and hate and disgusting, why are the developers going to go there to try and communicate with anyone when all they're going to see is disgusting and horrible and nasty? So open dialogue, yes, I'm very for open dialogue. Try to get that open dialogue going. Feed them information that will help them. Try to actually give them information that will help. Don't just say, you guys suck, you're not doing it my way. And that's what a lot of the arguments boil down to, is people are just feeding them these knee-jerk reaction arguments that aren't founded in any sort of fact or form, and they aren't even doing any research into things that have been said previously.
Now,
a lot of times.
This is an interesting one. So there's a couple of things here, and I want to fold in two comments that have come in from chat. You and I are potentially an anomaly. Well, in fact, hell, look at us. We are so anomalies. In that we're like idiot savants for Star Citizen. We soak up as much as we can. And we retain it because, quite frankly, again, look at us. So we're not we're not a typical backer, and we're not a typical fan per se. And Guaher and Ferk8, which is an interesting name, I'll pronounce that right in chat, said basically a thing that perhaps part of what's feeding into this might be the occasional very meaty communication, like the Starliner intermediate layout segment, and the contrast that gives against other segments creates a feeling of the void. And Furkate says, I wish CIG released more tiny updates with few screenshots and very short videos like they did a few years back. And I'm kind of wondering, is this in part that we've become bored of the standard method of communications, so when they go and say do a little bit more in part, it kind of makes people wish for more of that updates across various things, and at the same time a change in how CIG has communicated over the time?
I don't think there's a huge change in how they've communicated, because I've seen this lull in information before. This type of lull actually hit around this time last year as well, before we got Arena Commander. I think that was a year ago now, pretty much. It was sometime in the summer. And before they were doing the weekly updates on it and everything else, and in that downtime, they said, we don't have any other information for you other than what we've given you. We just don't have that information right now. We have the information of, these are the things we've told you about, these things are being worked on. Sorry, we don't have further updates. It's not any further along. So development does go in those cycles. So when we do have that information, they do feed it out to us a lot of times. They will feed to us that, and I think the leak didn't help it because there's a bunch of stuff being worked on behind the scenes, and people said,
Yeah.
"Ooh, look at all these things that were in there and everything else," and they said, "Well, it wasn't ready to be shown because this stuff goes out to media, to the community,
Yeah.
to
And to be
everyone
honest,
else."
open development does not mean you get a reveal of everything. They have to keep sizzle back, and I was kind of like, "Are you serious?" When people were complaining about stuff being withheld, it was like, "Oh, for God's sake!" Um, but so I guess from my kind of view is, uh, do you feel that the communication from CIG has been adequate?
Um, yeah, overall, it's been adequate, and I think part of the problem is it did start to shut down a bit, but that was again as vitriol increased. It became a situation of like I would see these Katamaris go up, and the mods have to come down on it because things would get nasty, and then you wouldn't see developers stepping in because they'd already answered a lot of the questions in there. And now Cronin did say earlier, because communication is part of their job, it doesn't matter if they don't like it. However, when you answer the exact same question over and over again, it becomes a situation of insanity. It it is the definition of it's doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And that's what's going on is people are slamming them with the exact same topic that's been brought up time and time and time and time and time, controller situation or balance or XYZ is not what it's going to be, that we're doomed. Like before it
Okay.
was Arena Commander isn't XYZ. It doesn't really have 6 DOF or anything else. And now it's Star Marine is 2 Call of Duty. It's
See,
I was around a year ago. I saw these
so
arguments.
so here's the thing. So I'm very much in agreement with you, but I think at the same point, the conversation circles towards the community, and I want to kind of just pick on that just a little bit. But I also want to say Cronin is having an interesting question here, which is not having a publisher. What could be the reason to hold information? My mouth is spoken. What could be the reason to hold information back? Name one. I can name a few. Primarily, it's because they want to. They're under no obligation to tell you everything.
They have a
After
certain standard of quality that they've met with everything that they have shown, and
Yeah.
if it's not there, then they're not going to show it.
To be honest, you don't even need a standard of quality for them to choose not to show. They can just not choose not to show you because they want you to experience it in game. Um, what we're doing right now is flight mechanics, combat mechanics. Were why is my screen shaking? That's it. We'll get PU experiences. We'll get set missions. We'll get those kind of things, and whatever alpha and beta we get. We're not going to get the game until the game is ready and the game is out. But they'll release what they need to release so that they can get the best feedback, the best responses, so they can make it the best game.
Not to mention, and this is something that I just saw in chat at the same time as I was thinking it, so same page there. They said it costs money to closely track, Guahir says, it costs money to closely track that information in a publicly accessible manner and therefore would be a misuse of our funds. Now, they've said similar. It actually costs money to release this stuff because you have to have people review it, make sure it's accurate, have the artist go over it again. So you're pulling them off of the thing that you're screaming at them to complete, to give you the information over here because they can't be working on this because they have to give it to you and put it through the website. And so that takes resources off the project too. There is a resource cost to doing this information. There's a resource cost to ATV and reverse the verse and the letters and there's a resource cost. It isn't just the community team. They kind of just manage all of the different pieces and parts and put them together, but they have to go to all of these experts and everyone else.
Yeah. And my follow up on all of this is I do think that the community has been rather rah 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 rah. But at the same time, why are they doing this? An awful lot of it is down to basically human nature. So I know, Grakees, Mr. Ranty McRantrant,
A bit.
but just a bit.
Yeah.
But for me, completely in agreement. But at the same time, this is human nature. Um, it's kind of the playground we're all in. And then the flip side is, well, what can CIG do, if anything, to improve that? Or is it just, shit, we're stuck with this, let's see what we can do? So I kind of really love the communication that's come out from Ben and from CIG in the last wee while. At the same time, it's not going to address everything. I hope we get more communications like this, but I would rather it was where CIG was in control and not having to respond to the concerns of the day, that they were a step ahead. So I do think they may need to have given the development length so far. Now we're going to be 2 or 3 more years at least. Of course, everyone should really kind of settle down for that. Given the lifespan of member backing, new people coming in, a mixture of cynicism, duration, and new player ignorance, or new potential player ignorance, it means that I think they do need to kind of reevaluate some of their approaches towards communication, because maybe the current shit doesn't fully cut it. I do think they're absolutely fantastic in their communication, like you, but it's obviously not hitting the spot for some people.
It does, and then it doesn't. It does, and
Yeah.
then it's because I've been backing this for so long and following it for so long that I've seen the cycle of the argument happen time and time again.
Yeah.
And that's what is the most frustrating thing about it is the argument comes back up all over again. They have to pull their resources and time away to respond to this argument, and then out comes this thing, and everyone goes, "Oh my God, you're so amazing! We believed in you all along." No, you didn't. You were the person that just 5 seconds ago was calling them completely stupid POSs.
I agree with you, and I disagree with you, but
I'm
I
okay
think,
with you disagreeing. It's always the good part about
Yeah.
conversation about things.
Yeah. So here's a quick thing. One, if this is a pattern, great. Can they identify the pattern of that so that they know that they can change from this point for the next kind of period their communication style? Obviously, I'm a data-driven nut, so I believe in the numbers. But maybe there's something there. The flip side is that I forgot what you said. Refresh me.
I talked about the fact that it's cyclical, and then I talked about the people that 5 seconds before were screaming doom and gloom, and then they're all of a sudden, "I love you, Sig."
Now, there's a word called bandwagoning, which I think a lot of people do. I've seen it in my life, and I've seen it very recently with certain tribes, shall we say, of various communities who see a fire and they run towards it, like moths to a flame, so they can have an opinion, but it's more about them being seen to have an opinion, not that they believe in the opinion. And
Loud noises!
Yes, exactly. My voice is getting louder.
I love Lamp!
I love Lamp.
And Test. Just so Test doesn't think I'm cheating on them.
Yeah. So for me, it's a case of these people don't actually have an opinion. They're simply swayed by the moment. I mean, these be but so what I'm saying is, some of these people would make excellent mobs against the monster that Frankenstein built.
It is mob mentality.
Yeah. And I don't like mob mentality, and I think
riot.
you're the same way.
Oh no, I don't like mob mentality, and I can tell you exactly where the cycle comes from. It's from people that see a development cycle goal chart that has dates on it that they're attempting to hit, and they say none of these dates are actually factual. We're attempting
not.
to hit these dates. These are markers for us, but we would like to share with you what we're trying to do. This may not happen. And then everyone goes, those are solid dates. This is when it will happen, most definitely 100%. There is absolutely zero chance that this could go wrong. And for developers, any date that you put on a cheat, we laugh at, because none of those dates
Yeah.
are ever hit. They are best guesses based on the information at hand at that moment.
I've run project management, I've run software development, I've done a whole bunch of really, really boring things. And if a date is hit, then you basically go, we have set something very, very wrong. Or,
We did
something-
something wrong, yeah.
yeah. Um, so an interesting conversation is coming up, but I want us to kind of move more into the content of Ben's post. But Captain Jimmy Dean said, Jenny of the speaking, I think, it blows my mind that folks don't realize that games are in the works for years before we hear about them at all. And of course, something you're excited for and paying attention to daily will feel like it's taking forever to get to the end. Cronin comes up with YCAP. These games were funded by publishing houses that control the process because they put up the money. He says, since we put up the money, we don't deserve more information.
And I think we're getting as much information as a general publisher will to some degree. We're getting a lot of what they would actually get. That's why they give us those guesstimate dates. But they also hold back because a publisher is also inside the industry. And inside the industry, they're going to understand where development goes and everything else. They're not going to have a mob of several 100,000 people that explode at them for every decision. They have people that are specialists hired to do certain jobs. They do these hopefully very well, or they get fired. That's the big difference in everything else, and that's part of the problem, is that. And Ben used the phrase in these posts. He said armchair developers. Now, he didn't mean that as an insult, and he came back and even said he didn't mean that as an insult. He said that in the same way that he would refer to himself as an armchair quarterback or an armchair military tactician. It's not quarterbacking, military tactics. Those are not
I'm an armchair redditor.
Yeah. I think everyone's an armchair redditor. But that's the thing. Now, I'm not saying the community as a whole. There are people that in the community that do specialize in this stuff. But the ones that do tend to have a very different perspective on these things. We try to give them critical feedback and pointed feedback direct to very specific things that they can change and tweak and work on with information to back that up, rather than a broad spectrum I'm trying to think, amorphous blob of an idea that doesn't have any basis in what they're building to some degree. It has to be, they're software developers, they're designers, they need numbers, they need information to work off of. You can't give them a general blob of an idea and say, this is what I want. It just doesn't work that way in any feedback. And I learned that very early on, going back to Star Wars Galaxies, and I've seen chat bring that up. They were one of the first very open communities I've ever seen. They had very, very communicative developers. And they had a lot of the same ways that they would interact with the community that we're seeing here. And the one thing that I always noticed was there was the group with the constant screaming and everything else and early backing of that game and doing, posts on the forums. And then there was the group that was giving them more detailed feedback. And they actually did change the game. I'm negating the new game experience. That was horrible and actually blindsided a bunch of the developers and everything else. And people actually quit over it. So
yeah,
that was one thing else. But when feedback was given in a way that a developer can actually draw that into a game design document, they would take that under advisement and actually make changes for the community when they would see a consensus on this well thought out criticism.
So this has been an incredibly rich conversation, and I don't want to leave it just yet because there is one question I want to ask. Based on the fact that Star Citizen, CIG, the company who makes Star Citizen, is basically crowdfunded,
Hmm.
does that make us its publishers?
No.
Okay.
The same as if you go on any Kickstarter, you are not entitled to, say, a share of the profits to an idea for something someone puts out of a factory. You are not, in those cases, somebody that is actually a financier. You are a backer. You believe in the idea and you get something in return for that, which is listed out in your initial backing, but it doesn't make you a typical financier or somebody on the inside more so. You're not entitled to anything beyond what they initially presented to you as they were going to give you. Now, if they want to go further with it, they are going to draw more interactivity and people in, and it is going to build a better brand for them. And I think that's the problem here is people, because they've invested so much time and energy and money, dare I say, feel entitled to things from SIG. We're not. And mind you, this is coming from a person who has invested quite a bit of money and time in this game. I have invested a lot on the shoulders of Star Citizen, guys. So I'm speaking as one of those larger backers and saying, I'm not entitled to that. I would love to be entitled to that. I would absolutely love to be on their internal tests of Star Marine right now. The fan in me wants to be there, wants to do that, but I have to take that step back. I have to breathe. I have to say, I'm not entitled to this, but I can help shape this thing that I absolutely love so much that I've put my time and energy into, and if I give them something constructive to work with, they will work with us. And that's where it's going awry, is we've stopped being a constructive community in a lot of cases. If we're a constructive community, we're going to see this thing take shape in a way we never even expected, and they never even expected. A lot of building a great game like this can come community driven. They are going to give us the tools to do this if we can feed them the information on how to build those tools for us as a group collective. Not one-offs, but as a large, solid idea document and criticism to something. So, just take that step back, take that breath. Give them something they can work with.
So now that after all this, we've basically just fixed everything, how are you feeling?
I feel like that was a catharsis.
Right, so now we just need to go to each of the 1 million backers and have this conversation.
Or they could all just get this video linked to them. And they're going to hate the hell out of me to start with, but hopefully they listen through the whole thing and, eventually,
Watchers, I want you to stay consistent.
Oh, God! For the love of all that's holy. And to answer something someone was talking about in chat earlier, Ferk, he was actually saying, could they show us a short clip? Just to show us what they're working on with the quick step actions. They actually have that. That's out there. They showed that in a video with Chris Roberts when he was doing the motion cap, and they were doing the corner peaks and other things for Squadron 42, which is being built into Arena Commander. They showed the juke moves. They showed where it's at now, and they're not done with where it's going to be. So they did actually show us the early points on these things. So that was actually done. They did give us where they were at, and like most artists, they don't want to show you something that's half complete and they know looks like crap right now. It's not going to serve any purpose to show us something crappy.
Yeah. I'm just typing one thing into chat.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so comments made the comment "angry backer stereotype." Oh numbers.
Oh,
The view I
numbers.
think we all have is this is the one thing. This is why I like Bad News Gaming, and that I especially love Grakees' chat. Is we're all sensible people here, and we can each hold a different opinion, and we can discuss it. Um, I've never met that person. I had an option of buttons to press. I'd like to have done a 1 second purge. They're gone for 10 minutes. I'm sorry, Daedalus. But yeah, these things. But what
Oh, I
I'm
know that, Parrot. I know these goggles show that. Sorry, I got distracted by chat. I have to adjust my goggles sometimes because the reflection of my monitor does come back in them. But all it is on Ben's post right now. So,
are you kidding? Because what I've been doing is I've been freeze framing and enhancing. I've been doing my Blade Runner meets CSI.
or your Super Troopers. Ticket. Enhance. Ticket.
You know, I've
Enhance.
not seen Super Troopers.
I know you told about that before on a not to be named show.
Well, there you are then. Um, so, so now I think as an opening gambit, we've managed to I think warm ourselves up. So we might as well continue. Oh my God, look at the time.
Yeah.
But let's actually, because I think it's worth sharing a couple of top line views of each of the sections that Ben has covered, because they are really good clarifications. So Star Marine is now. I'm going to read down the opening paragraph because I think it was a great one. I'm going to do this in my voice because I can't do accents. Hey guys.
Kermit the Frog here.
What is it? Oh, fantastic! I've
Little
got that
bit.
now. Oh, it's not fully because I have nothing in my repertoire. Okay, hey guys, I know you have quite a few concerns this week. Understatement. And I'd like to take a little time to settle some issues as best I can informally. This is all in the spirit of improving communication, and I'll do my best to keep on this thread to answer things. Good man, Ben. Let's try and keep the discussion polite. We have enough toxicity already
Whoops.
for a group of people who all want the same thing. Yeah, we want the cure. We're part of the problem.
At the end, we were more cute.
Well, you say that. It's like the euphoria after a bout of heavy vomiting. If there's anything I've missed in this long post, let me know and I'll say what I can. And then it became basically the tome that came down from the mountains. And so we had Star Marine is delayed indefinitely. Grakees, your response to what was said, or to summarize?
No, it's not. That was a clickbait post that everyone latched onto and echo chambered. Oh my God, this post over here, and I don't even mean forum post. Sorry, I mean article. I should say.
Articles.
Yeah, it was. Well, it started with PC Gamer. To be straightforward, that's the source it came from. And then it was basically linked by other media sources as, oh my God, look, there's these words going around, Star Marine delayed indefinitely, and that fed back into the forums, which then fed back to the articles. It was an echo chamber situation and completely not true, and that's what Ben said. We're working on it. No, that's not true.
Now, what do we recall if they said it was delayed indefinitely in their post? I can't remember.
The words delayed indefinitely were not used in the post. They were taken as a conjecture item and used, and no developer would ever use those words because
it means you're dead.
It means canceled, and that's what
Yeah.
Ben said. That's a game industry term for canceled. No, that isn't what they said.
Now he did say after that we are getting weekly updates, but hoping that we won't be getting them soon. There's I don't know if it was in here or the general kind of comments. It looks as if they are getting close, but they're not going to be public about when it's coming out.
Yes, exactly, because they've learned their lesson about being public with any sort of date, because people latch onto them as hard truth rather than developer truth.
Yeah. Hang on, let me just refresh the screen because I think we may have just lost our signal.
Did we? Oh, I don't think we lost the signal. We might have just gotten our source controls.
Yeah. Okay, and we're back. Yeah, thank you, Twitch, for being so twitchy.
I'm just going
Love
to take a
you.
peek.
That was also to you, Grakees.
Oh, well, thank you. That's always
Mwah.
wonderful. Nope, I don't have
Um,
source Oh, I don't have encoding today. Oh, well.
these things. Well, maybe it's by ingest server. Star Marine is Call of Duty in
My God.
space. So, yeah, about that.
I don't know where that came from because if any words were ever used for it, well, they did say Call of Duty-ish for some of their ideas at one point, but if anything, their more descriptive term was ARMA.
I always thought it was Rainbow Six.
That too. ARMA and Rainbow
Yeah.
tactical combat. And they aren't talking current Rainbow Six either, which is very Call of Duty. They even said not current Rainbow Six, which is coming up, which is more like Call of Duty. They had a whole discussion on it. And of course, every game is going to pull ideas from other games out there if it's a good idea. Our artists get inspired by other artists all the time. They see a style that they absolutely love and they go, oh my God, I'm going to make my version of this beautiful style with my stamp on it. That happens. That's design. That's art. Human art feeds off human art.
So I can understand why people are saying Call of Duty, and I can disagree with it. And I'll come to that in a second. I just want to also say that Solus is saying, in my opinion, the Star Marine release, the Star Marine release is directly tied to the reaction to Arena Commander, and that I think has some legs to it, because I think the Arena Commander release was slightly more capitulation to the masses in terms of the version we got, mixed with the fact that they knew they were going in their planned approach at the same time, where it's like you'll see the warts and all. And so I think they are trying to go for a much higher release of alpha for the FPS, and as a result, I think it has affected some of their approaches, which is a shame. Maybe it's a good thing, but hindsight.
Well,
But
that goes back to the critical commentary thing again, too, is a bunch of us actually sent them messages about, hey, would you be able to, it's been a while, is there any way to pull a branch out of your main line, which you're trying to do with 1.2, to get some Star Citizen Arena Commander patches in that are separate from Star Marine, even though you've tied them in together? Or is that completely infeasible, and is the engine just so integrated now that it would basically be hell in a handbasket? And the response is, well, that's a good idea, we'll look into it.
But I do like the idea of if I went to go, hey, Grakees, could you pull a branch out of your main line? Sorry, I had to go there.
Sorry, I was using development terms too.
Yeah.
This happens.
It's there. So the thing for me is I can understand why people are seeing this as Call of Duty in space. Now, bearing in mind, we've not even fingered our pew-pews. But at the same time, the Arena Commander is not Star Citizen. The Star Marine is not Star Citizen. It is a shoot 'em up section of the game, and the game being a simulation environment so they can get the mechanics down.
Yes.
So if and it's kind of, a lot of people do seem and I've occasionally fallen into this myself, what we have is the game because that's what we're currently engaging with. We should always take a step back and say, look, this isn't actually the game. This is basically a data gathering platform. So I absolutely guarantee we're going to have a world of pew-pew, and then those of us who remember the Armor and Rainbow Six will become better and more tactical, and hopefully that will start to shift the engagement.
Yep.
In the same way that I've been practicing really hard to avoid asteroids. Yeah. This is a chance for us all to practice with our combat style on the ground, or floating, as it were.
Yeah. Or our sports ball.
So many opportunities for a joke there. You are spending too much time polishing the game. Yeah.
Sorry,
So
so many jokes there too.
yeah. So do you want to talk about polish there?
We could do that as the word of the week at this point as well.
Mm,
Polish in terms of game development is, as Ben said too, it's something you do at the end of development. It's making sure all of the little lighting effects and pieces and stuff are 100%, and that maybe there isn't this little corner that turns white on certain visual angles, and that all the shiny is shiny. And in internal talk, polish might be used to talk about, bringing things up to a certain spec document.
which is, I think, what Chris has used polish for.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the things that happens in these articles is their mindset right now is very internal development. They're focused on internal development. So we might see a word leak out here or there that is being taken in one way and misconstrued, because you have to remember their mindset is on development right now. And one word of misuse does not mean this entirely huge different expanded thing because it was used one time. Now, if it was used repeatedly and expanded upon in some degree, even with a couple of sentences, then I would say, oh, okay, he meant something else. But a one-time use of one word, no. And that's the thing, is people took that one word of polish and said, oh my god, they're spending too much time just making sure it's pretty and shiny. No, in internal development speak, it means that they're trying to get things working. That's basically what it meant. They're trying to get things in a working functional condition of an alpha that they could actually show to someone as a base model.
Let's take these next two as a two for one. Feature creep, and you're spending all your time on concept sales. So that one is... So for me, it's a case of, on the feature creep, I've never for a second believed that the scope has increased beyond what they originally said, per se. It's always that if they got a certain amount of funding, they would deliver this particular game, and everything else would come after, hopefully, provided that there was enough support post-launch. We've got all the money. We could do with more, but we got all the money, and that has then allowed them to deliver the game they wanted.
And that we asked for.
Yeah, in the same way that if you look at an egg, it has the potential to become a chicken. Everything
delicious.
If you look at an egg, it's the potential to become delicious. We basically have that same scenario. So it's just the evolution towards the more finalized, fully featured game. But they haven't really kind of gone beyond their what they wanted to deliver. Does that make sense?
It does. I'll disagree a little bit, because I do remember the initial Kickstarter, and basically what they're doing now is beyond the initial Kickstarter. And I know Ben said otherwise in there, that it was always going to be privateer style, persistent universe, Squadron 42, first person boarding, and so on. And oh man, it really wasn't initially. It was going to be a persistent universe, but it was not going to have all of these extra add-ons that we have now. So I will disagree with that one small point in there.
Give us an example of an add-on that's been added on, because I think you're right per se. I would just kind of love to kind of get a sense of what we're talking about here.
Ground-based FPS combat.
Really?
Yeah, that was in the stretch goals.
Oh yeah, that's fine then.
That was added into the stretch goals. It wasn't part of the initial Kickstart.
Oh, okay. So
Yes.
So for me, I would see feature creep as stuff that, because for me it was like they had their stretch goals, and then they had the really piddling stretch goals where it's get a space plant,
Yeah.
And so I don't really count those as feature creeps. Those are just vanity things. So for me, it's a case of they've managed to do everything that's in the stretch goals, but they've never added anything beyond those stretch goals that wasn't part of the game. Does that make
Correct.
sense, or is
Yeah,
that just
correct.
splitting hairs?
No, no. There is a difference between those two, and that's the only thing I'll disagree on. There is different than the Kickstarter than maybe a few of the first like 5 or 10,000 people might have backed, and very few
Yeah,
of them are angry about these, especially
yeah,
because they held votes. Do you want more stretch goals? And people overwhelmingly said, yes, we want more stretch goals.
yeah.
And they
Uh,
said we can do only a certain number of these in time for initial launch. They said that over
yeah.
and over too.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I didn't fund in the Kickstarter. I saw it and I went, yeah, I'm stupid, and so I kind of funded after. Um, so I didn't kind of come from these were the words set in stone. Now I don't want to say that any of those complaints are coming just from the Kickstarter people. I think it is a much larger thing. Um, but I do think they've they, they've they've not kind of gone beyond the features that they promised in the stretch
Yeah.
goals. Um, if they promised features that weren't addressed in stretch goals, that could be something.
But
I mean,
everything has been listed out and voted on. So I could see some people arguing the initial Kickstarter thing, but even then, that's kind of splitting hairs
I mean,
because a lot of it is very similar to what we got in our stretch goals. It's just some tack on it. That's a straw man argument almost.
to move away from feature creep, you could say such things as, well, we now have a grabby hands system, a ghost system, we have a new matchmaking system, we have all these, we now have first and third person combat kind of melded together in terms of camera.
Except you
Technical,
don't have third person combat.
yeah,
But
you know what I'm saying, technical terms. Technically.
yeah.
I watch you shoot someone because you are actually shooting someone. Wow. So many of those things can be seen as, well, you don't really need them.
Grabby
But then
hands is a bit
again,
above and beyond, but that's something no one's even argued about as feature creep either. I didn't see a lot of people complain about grabby hands. That was kind of funny to me.
yeah.
Is that they
So
show off grabby hands and say, "Hey, we're going to add this thing," and never saw that in the goals. And you're right, that wasn't in there, but everyone kind of loved it. And it's like, you're constantly yelling
yeah.
about these things, but now you're loving them for it. Come on.
So I don't. It's kind of like, but if you were maybe to look at this game in comparison to maybe the level of other games where they don't have these things, where they'll go, yeah, and 16 versus 16 or 8 versus 8 is fine. Um, it's to me, it's almost like, are we trying to apply certain, where I'm coming at? It's like this game has a different intention, a different underlying set of ideals that I think is also affecting one,
They want it to
how
be
it's
living,
being
breathing
built,
universe.
yeah, how it's being built, and two, how we perceive it. Because
Mhm.
the only things we've got are the games we currently have, and that's the only thing we can compare it with. So maybe I think that can start to kind of create that feature creep scenario.
And then we were going to speak about you're spending all your time on concept sales. That was
Yes.
going to be rolled into the feature creep thing because that could be seen as creep. However,
Yeah.
those ships were all in the stretch goals. We voted on those things. We wanted them.
Even the tier fours.
Pretty sure. We. Oh, you mean did we want them or did we vote on them?
Exactly. I
We
don't
definitely
think. I think
voted.
we definitely voted. There should be a poll vote going no. But I,
So you want to give back your Reliant then?
it's. Do you know how we've got autonomous nervous systems?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
I think.
that's
Am I breathing right now?
well, are you?
I don't know. Crap, I forgot how to breathe.
You are Neo. I am Morpheus. but the idea is that if I was the only person with a particular set of with universal skills, and I wasn't kind of developing the game, and I was off doing something else, then I would be potentially a resource mismanagement, depending upon their internal timelines. But they're using defined skill sets, third party aspect,
Yeah.
people
They
who,
contract.
yeah, with a pipeline system that finally appears to be working, that allows them to build these ships, which, to be honest, from a marketing viewpoint, is a great way to bring in money into Star Citizen. Which, no matter how much money they have, they do need to show a flow of cash so that other groups can legitimately see them as a business and allow them to trade in a meaningful manner.
So they get priority access to things like the cloud.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so from fleshing out from Elite Dangerous's original handful of ships, we're going to have over 100 ships. We're going to have such a wide variety of combinations, plus the fact that it brings money in to allow them to continue the development and to get the advantages of looking like a regular business.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Not to
mean,
mention post-launch shinies that we'll get.
yes, keep going for it. Now, my ship isn't flyable yet.
Hmm. My ship
Yeah,
is on that list, and
I
I'm
new
okay
merchant
with it.
man represent.
Retaliator.
Time to tally.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, I'm reading this time. That doesn't quite count. Yes, it does count. Okay. I could have
Yeah,
read any of the other names on there, but
yeah.
they're
Um,
not needed at this point in the testing phase in the game.
yeah. What I would not give for my Cartulile, for my merchantman, oh, just to be even in hangar.
My herald,
Uh,
my well, not my new herald, but my herald of old, my retaliator, my you know, my Connie. I'd love to play with my Connie. That sounds
Phrasing.
dirty.
So yeah, I mean, this is I completely understand where people are coming from with this. I do know that an awful lot of people have tribed up. Some of them are tribes are great fun, but they when they turn, they turn,
Mhm.
um, and we just have to be patient. I mean, bah,
Limited resources, they have to go through the pipeline, they have to be developed, and certain ships have priority over others. And they even list, I mean, Ben goes through this and lists out the priorities for this one. And he's basically is like, Squadron 42 ships, those are going to be a priority because we have to get that up and running first, because that'll be before Persistent Universe and all those things. Um, Anything for Arena Commander 1, which is out now, the single seater stuff, that's going to go ahead of the line because 2.0 is multi crew, so you don't need those ships right away unless they're Squadron 42, and so on and so forth.
mm, mm. They're only making assets for Squadron 42.
Oh,
That
yes.
surprised me.
I, I, we just
Or
had pictures and posts and them talking about and showing. They've shown us. We just had the Genesis Starliner concept and that entire gray box thing, or was it white box? Whatever they call it. That entire development post too on the whole being a freaking passenger farrier and having a career in that and all of that, and then people are still screaming, "Oh, they're only making stuff for Squadron 42," and I see those things, and that makes me face palm to the back of my head.
yeah,
That is one of those things of, again, are you not paying any attention to what they release? Because you don't even have to search very hard to find out that's not true.
sales are down. We're doomed.
Cyclical.
So yeah, it's cyclical and now ironic considering the comment of "You're spending all your time on concept sales."
That's true. They do kind of contradict each other. I didn't even notice that. You're spending all
Yeah,
your time on getting a lot of money, and you're not getting money, so you're also doomed at the same time. But you're also spending your time. Wait a second, Ouroboros much?
yeah. So Paramath made a comment just to catch up on what we were saying prior about, yes, they're only making assets for Squadron 42. The Squadron 42 is huge and is a living and breathing universe in and of itself. The PU is just letting us fly around Squadron 42 without dealing with the campaign stuff.
I think he needed a Kappa face on that.
Yeah, I hope you're a Saki fucker, Parrot. We both know that there's a place called Austin that is doing so much stuff. That is non-Squadron 42.
I know they have what 3 planets are coming up again? Hoth, Bespin, and Mustafar, I think.
Oh, I thought it was Huey, Dewey, and Louie, but yeah. You'll notice, by the way, you can easily tell if any assets are for Squadron 42 or for the PU, is because every asset's voice, ship, or character, or kind of tannoy system for Squadron 42 will all be with a Manchester accent. They've decided that to make
It's
a clear
true.
delineation, so post-launch you can easily see.
Well, it makes sense that they'd have the British accents to go along with an empire. We all saw that come up from somewhere else.
Yeah. Now we got where are the previous web features you've talked about?
That was a valid question that did he did answer. And that one was actually a valid concern. Now, when it turned into doom and gloom, it stopped being. But as a direct concern, like, hey, you mentioned these things, what's going on with them?
Yeah.
That's a valid question to ask. Again, there are valid concerns that you can bring up without, basically being a complete ass. And he answered them. He came out and answered them, and he probably would have in one of the other posts too, if time was given to do so. And it was that some stuff came up and they needed those resources to fix more major things, and some stuff got pushed back, but they will be coming up soon, and we'll be hearing more about it later when they have something available.
And I think the interesting thing here was the biggest blocker there is that we'd rather have it tied to the PU rather than be a sort of fake web-only experience.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an interesting indication of hopefully what's happening later this year.
No, yeah, and that's something they've talked about all along, and that's why some things seem delayed to the
Yeah.
point where it hurts. But this is the thing about development process, especially in Agile, is you can have a lot of things going on behind the scenes all in parallel with each other and being worked on. And if you get a blocker so it can't come out to us, it doesn't mean that work stops. Work isn't just dead in the water because we aren't getting something. They can still keep doing a lot of stuff. It just means that we'll get to see it a bit later. And that's what ends up happening. Now, sometimes those schedules also get pushed off because of XYZ. Oh my God, I didn't expect it. But this is kind of like the Arena Commander situation, which was, do we give it to them with this code that we'll actually have to rewrite because it
Yeah.
won't have anything to do with what we need for the final game, or do we delay it and give them something that will actually be utilized so we don't waste that time? And they went with, don't waste time.
Yeah. And we've almost reached the end of this list, so this will be ultra quick. So I'll paraphrase this one. Chris Roberts, a person who directed live capture in various computer games, plus spent many years working in Hollywood as a director and indeed as a producer, say for about 10 years, is wasting his time directing the performance capture shoot. Yeah.
I have no response anymore at that.
Yeah.
If I could reach through my nose right now and remove my brain and then facepalm my brain into my own face, I would.
If you want that to happen, please click the donate button underneath this stream. If we get to $100, I will promise you he will do it.
I'll visit an Egyptian that knows how.
Those guys knew something.
They did.
Yeah, yeah. So absolutely insane. Uh, Now this one I can understand because I think it's connected to communication. Ex-employees and also just kind of cultural experiences of the market. Ex-employees leaving were doomed.
People leave jobs. An entire project does not rest on the shoulders of one person. If it does, there's a
Bad
problem.
project, yeah.
Yeah, there's a major, major problem with that project. You have to plan for every possible contingency on any major project. That includes even the possibility that Chris Roberts isn't available for months at a time. They have to have some contingency available to it and someone to step up. And any good company, any good project is going to do that. So,
His name is Zirovek.
yeah,
The yeah, and so here, yeah, so a couple of things from my side is one, a lack of communication perceived by people, and then when the news comes out that somebody is leaving, that to them is communication, but not the kind that uh, they want, and that makes them concerned. Fair enough. The flip side is I, I'm, I have a lot of friends in the game industry, from project managers, managing editors, writers,
mhm,
testers, developers. There is a very, very high churn within the industry.
mm,
It is not an industry for the faint-hearted, unfortunately. I have a lot of um, questions about general support and working practices. And I know CIG is a computer game company. They've actually got, even though they've got lower salary, they've actually got, I think, a healthier internal attitude and bonhomie than a lot of other kind of companies.
yeah,
But people move on. It's just a fact. And to be honest, if this was any other company, a lot of people would be let go
yeah,
with very, very, very short notice.
yeah.
Um,
That's the industry, and it's the way it
yeah,
is. And this is more open than any game company has ever really been. So when people leave, people notice it because they're so open, and then not knowing the industry, sky's falling.
yeah. Um, and but that's, I mean, but that's a thing I can get behind more because I understand kind of where that comes from. Because even without a game, people invest more in the people.
Hmm?
Um, Thank you, Sid Meier and Chris Roberts, for having your name in front of games and opening up the world of the people underneath. um, but this is kind of what we've got, and there's a they mentioned I'm very sorry to see Travis go. Now, Travis, fantastic person, was an old childhood friend of Ben's, but Travis has gone to a. This is almost like Old Yeller. He's gone to a better place.
He went to his
Um,
dream.
yeah.
He went to
Um,
the game development company upstate,
yeah.
where he can roam free.
And so there's a couple of things coming through in chat. Yeah, Jiro just said, yeah, they just closed the New York office of Gameloft. Yeah, it's a shitter. This is what happens. Um, um, and I just wish the industry wasn't like that.
Yeah,
So I think CIG, I'm not going to say they're different per se. I'm saying that people are leaving because they have life stuff. Parrot Mirth went, did you see the post about Crytek being grouchy at CIG for stealing employees? Lol. Um, which is, yeah, saw that. Tough. You know, I'm sorry, Crytek, I love you, but you got 70 million in funding late. Your staff needed somewhere to go, and they went. I've been in that situation myself,
Yeah.
and the the human response is to wish your developers well, because they're people. If you are, if the grouchiness is true and genuine, it makes me think less of you because you're using that as a cover for missed sales targets and bad uh, management.
Merge with Sig.
Oh God.
Sig's going 64-bit. So they already took him to another level.
Well,
Just,
there have.
just let Sig build the next generation of awesome engine.
Yeah, although there has been, I think, a side comment around the fact that an awful lot of what's modified in Crytek is then fed back to Crytek, but really everything that CIG, for the most part, have been doing doesn't really lend itself to another version of Crisis. So, you know, I don't think they're going to be seeing any of the benefits. So maybe they're seeing all this good stuff as well and being grumpy, but meh, I don't care.
They could
I
figure out
honestly,
a way to use it to their advantage.
we're doing a space sim. Um, it's
Crisis
not
in space.
Crisis in Space. Oh my God. How do I just imagine that Crisis in Space. I can just fly around in a jetpack and tactically map my asteroids so I can sneak up on them.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, that may not be a fully valid post that was being made about the Crytek thing, but meh, we'll see. It's not open development. I think we've beaten this drum.
What drum? It's smashed to pieces now.
And CIG is not communicating with us.
Sorry, I was just going to say to the beaten drum thing, I was just thinking,
Okay.
beating a dead horse. Stop it! He's already dead!
Yeah.
CIG
So,
is not communicating with us. Same thing.
yeah. Are we done? Are we done with this, Grakees? Have we finished the Ben
We
section?
finished the main Ben section, not all of his responses, which there was a lot of.
Oh, thank God. Seriously. I think Ben, if I had a fedora, I wouldn't publicly admit it. But if I had anything of a tip that I could do, I would hat tip to you. You basically knocked out of the park with that post, and it does say a lot about our community that this was needed. I do think, however, that I think some change of communication may be needed, but I think it's also around the how can we as a community be more educated and better. We've reached a density and a history that the prime source we've grown. It's kind of an interesting. This is a side effect of communities where we've grown to such a point that we're having conversations with ourselves, because those are more immediate. It allows us to semi-theory craft our own future scenarios and our own concerns. So maybe there needs to be some kind of higher level approach on how we kind of tell the story of let's say StarCraft, of Star Citizen, and where it is from, you know, development to lore to X, Y, and Z. Maybe that's where the some form of like almost dev Galactopedia could come in handy. But
Yeah.
there, just mind farts. So there was another thing. I mean, in
Yes.
fact, there were so many things to talk about, and this was the warmer.
Yeah.
Until we got into this next section. So, for the love of God, Grakees, 10 minutes or less, and then we can all
I
move
could do
on.
10 or less on this. I think you're talking
Yeah.
about the components, right?
No, yes, absolutely. So in ATV, they did a ship shape, which I was like,
Yes.
dun, 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 huh? Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. I was thrown by that one a little bit, but I kind of
I
saw it coming, honestly.
I literally paused, went back to the beginning, and watched that section again to make sure I heard it right. Um, so, Grakees, how many components will there be?
For sizes, 9 initial ones that they listed to start with right now. They said that's a good base number, but if we're going by the count they're using, I already can count 10.
Yeah. So to give people some quick background in case you haven't watched it, they have ship components. So they were talking on nominally about 9, maybe 10, which would be shields,
Shields,
coo-
ballasts, ammo
cooling,
boxes.
CPU, probably
They didn't
various
list
other.
the CPU. That's the one that
Yeah.
they missed out on. There's weapons, thrusters, engines, et cetera, et cetera. Shield generators, power plants. We as fans pretty much know them for most of us, and you can look up generally what's there. Changing them from the size system currently to the new size system,
The new size system had something like 12 sizes.
4 sizes. The
No,
old one had
the
12.
old system had 12. Sorry, the new system has 4. Now I'm doing the math. That's smaller.
Yes,
So what does it mean?
it means min-maxing heaven and balance hell. Now
So
you would think reducing the number of options would like that into these size categories
yeah,
would not be that way.
to
However,
get to get an understanding of this, because you're going to have to speak using simple terms, because I'm an idiot child around this kind of stuff. Um, the thing that threw me in the conversation, I think this probably ties into what you're about to kind of go into, is so say you have a ship which can allow you to have a size 3 power plant.
there it is. You know exactly where I'm going.
That then means that instead of having a size 3 power plant, you have 3 size 1 power plants,
Yes.
which can be of varying types.
Yes.
So I've understood that correctly.
Correct. So instead, you're going to get a certain number of slots for what's there. Now, they haven't balanced out exactly how many, but the example right now given is the Hornet. And the Hornet can use a size 3 power plant. But in this new system, you don't have size 3 anymore. You have sizes light, medium, heavy, capital. Hornets use light. But you can't have a Hornet only having the same exact power plant size amount, being a Hornet and a bigger ship and more powerful to run all of its equipment than, say, a Aurora. Auroras are great, but they're not military class ships. So how do you do that? You give the option of holding more light power plants. But they're supposed to have a system in there for overclocking. They have multiple manufacturers, which means that the mix and match that you could do in those number of slots you have become larger and larger for the player, which means everybody's going to be in a race for the loadout of the month. And
Like, is that different to what we have now, though?
more so because the number of options that they have that they can mix and match is going to make it more and more difficult to balance. This becomes the Star Wars Galaxy situation again. And I certainly hope they can pull it off, because it's a system that everyone loves, because we'd love to min-max, we'd love to lay it to create the loadouts that we want to match the situation we're in. That's what players love to do. You give us those options, we love it, but it is hell to balance those situations. And the reason it's hell to balance those situations is you give a player 3 power plant slots. Well, say there's power plants that reduce heat. There's power plants that overcharge more. There's power plants that can give short boosts of power increase for somehow to, say, overcharge different components and stuff. And what's going to happen is everyone then can overclock all of these different things to do their extra stuff on top of what they can do, and then they can plug in and mix and match all of these. That's thousands of variations per component slot.
So here's okay. So I have a hard time grasping the underlying issue. So I know Cyber was saying I hate min maxing. I don't like min maxing and like I must have the best ship. I know I must have the ship I
Mhm.
enjoy. But let's take the Vanguard as an example. The Vanguard comes with 2 shields,
Yes.
and you've been, as description, able to set 1 shield for direct, 1 shield for splash. You can have them overlap. You can have them do half and half of a ship. You can do various things with them as described from devs and the idea of the ship.
Yep.
Is is this just an extension of that?
It's that on steroids.
Okay.
So where you now where you used to have, say, those 2 shields of one size type that you could kind of mix and match and overclock, that would have been somewhat difficult to balance. So now you take that same Vanguard and say Vanguards are medium sized shields now. They're not light, they're a little bit bigger ship. But if you had two and they use big enough sizes and they decide, okay, to make up for it, we kind of need them to actually have 2 medium-sized slots at front and back. Now you have 4 components that can plug in any number of mix and match situation. And what players will do is find the ones that break the mechanics of the game, that go way outside the bounds. So say you end up in a fight with this player and you're a decent pilot, so you could limp away and survive. You're not even the best one, so you're not expecting to win. Instead, what they've done is create a ship that has the Vanguard, missile racks and weapons on it. But now they've got shield layouts that essentially make it so anything with a light weapon that's not overclocked in this very niche field can't even punch through their shields anymore. And so it means everyone in an Aurora, everyone in a Mustang, everyone in a Hornet just can't hurt them unless they swarm. So you got one Vanguard that can take on half a freaking squadron because there is a broken little niche area over here. And those crop up a lot as you expand how far players can go. You have those edge cases coming up a lot.
Oh, see, that's interesting because certain ships have had the ability to die, explode. And maybe this is one of those things that will increase time to kill.
It will help with time to kill, but there's a good thing in increasing time to kill, and then there's time to kill becomes invincible. It becomes a I can't win fight, and then it becomes a situation where you have to then follow those builds, and everybody then just uses these very specific components, and you can't kind of mix and match to how your play style is anymore. You are forced then to mix and match into fighting against this one edge case broken overpowered situation, which is why I tell them I really want them to make this work. I would love it, but definitely I have to say good luck in trying to do it, because it is a very difficult thing to achieve in gaming. Gamers are the best at breaking systems.
Yeah, I can work with that. So here's a few things from my side. One, I have delightful ignorance on my side. So I actually, even though you're saying these things, they also feel like they're concerns, but at the same time, they're founded / unfounded in that, hey, whatever system they give us, they'll tweak. So I guarantee you we'll probably get a system that will be shite. But equally, we've got to give them time and the feedback so they can improve it.
Yeah, so that's where I want to go back to the whole critical feedback thing. This is going to require a lot of focus from the community to give critical feedback, and hopefully we have enough upstanding community members that they decide to not withhold information for their own benefit in this early access stuff, and try to sneak that through all the way so that once PU goes out to like where they'll permanently have characters, they'll get an advantage. And if they're caught doing that, I hope that the panhammer comes down. I really want this to be an amazing game. And when they said that, I thought about Star Wars Galaxies and all those options we had, and I went, oh my god, maybe they could do this the right way. But oh, this is not going to be fun for them initially as they try to get this right.
I totally agree. Um, so Pirate Math has been so kind to post a couple of links in chat. Just to clarify on the Vanguard, it's been updated as of about 20 minutes ago. The two mediums on the Vanguard was in relation to its power plant, not shields. Right now, shields are planned at 6 light, split into two groups of 3.
Okay, so I was
So
close. Instead of 2 and
yeah,
2 medium, they were going light with a Vanguard, so it was off on my sizing. But same concept, except now there's even more components. That's 6 shields that you can mix and match on that thing.
yeah.
And overclock, don't forget, you can overclock this stuff too, guys. They do have that system still that they've been talking about. They're not going to rip away the entire crafting system of the game.
Yeah. So from my viewpoint, I think this is from just a practical internal pipeline thing. They've obviously done the math and they've realized they'd go blind making tiny little coolant systems. And so I reckon this is possibly either this is a concept redesign. This is a design change, I should say, based upon, I say, certain practicalities. But also, I think it ties into the delineation between capital and non-capital ship systems, because there was always the what happens when with the stats when you come up against a totally, obscene hull type.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see a lot more information about this and a lot more changes coming down the line.
And we will
but
see more. And they've said we're going to see more. They're going to try and make this the best game that they possibly can for all of us.
yeah,
And
so
make it fun and amazing in a living, breathing universe. And sometimes things are going to change along the way. And I like what they said, that they're going to be updating the ship specs page to now match the new stuff. They're going to be putting it through the pipeline essentially and saying, okay, well, this is what this would do.
awesome source. Now, so I think there's really only 2 more things to cover. Correct me if I'm wrong. One of them is a definition of the week. We haven't picked one, but we've just talked so deep and so inside baseball. I think it would be lovely to have a little refresher.
Yes.
Anything come to mind that you want to talk about?
I put one in Skype at some point, but I can't bring that up without screwing up all the cameras if you want to check.
Okay, let me just jump in.
I think it was components.
I think it was components. Yeah, it was components.
I remembered something!
Yay!
Yes, we do a definition of the week based on the game that we're speaking about. In the future, we might have other space games we talk about. Primarily, it's Star Citizen at this point. And components, for everyone that doesn't know, and the thing we were just talking about, components refer to everything in the game. Literally, everything in the game that can be plugged into something else. So your weapons, they're components. Your cooling systems, components. Your missiles are components. Even like the stuff you're going to be wearing on your character are all components. So when they say there's an update to the component system, that's a broad sweeping update. That touches everything. So when we talk about components, we're not talking about a specific part of the game. We're talking about all of the little items that plug into everything else within the game. So in the context of Star Citizen, a component is almost all the pieces and parts that you can put together in order to make your ship, make your character, load out your armor, your weapons. So all of these things fall under components for them. So don't think we're just talking about like a specific tiny little item. No, this is all of it. That's components in Star Citizen.
Woohoo!
Hey, that was a good Mario.
So basically, I do a half-assed Kermie and a Mario. Oh dear God! You should see my Scottish. So I think that's really us. Unless there is anything on your side, Grakees.
No. That's the long episode, longer, but I think we knew that going in because this was a deep topic episode.
Yeah. I think we can take from this is that the community is actually quite lovely. It's just that sometimes they need fed and diets change. Um, but equally, we need some education and some better training
We
so
need
we
to get
can.
them on the right medications. Then they're
Oh,
good. I
yeah,
think of it's like a loony bin.
that's
I'm one of those
alarmingly
two.
apt.
So
Yes. And yeah, I think we've had a great conversation. We've gone deep into the rabbit hole talking about the state of the game. We'll have more conversation and more fun next week, maybe even a quiz. We'll see how that goes. Anything you want to say, Grakees, before we sign off?
I just want to remind everybody to watch me on my stream. I stream Monday through Saturday. It's twitch.tv/Grakees, Grakees.
Yeah. And if for some unknown reason you like my own Witterings, make sure to follow me as well. That's twitch.tv/Doublar Thackery, Doublarth. Approximately.
Doublarthackery, Doublar Thackeray. There you go.
The chat is now having a spam attack of follows. So that's all rather
Well,
lovely.
hopefully they have a spam attack of following you. I want them to go train on you. Follow train, that is.
Go do a train on me. And so yeah, so we'll say bye to you now, and we'll be around just for a bit of post show afterwards. So take care, everyone.
Yes. Have a great one.
Bye.
Okay, frozen for long enough. I should be able to cut there. If I could get the videos to upload to YouTube, they aren't working.
We should. We should.
I local record. Nothing's uploading again to my YouTube. It's a problem.
Let me have a fiddle with stuff over the weekend. See if I can come up with any other options. Hello, everybody. Cronin, thank you very much for that. I
Yes,
hope this
Cronin,
was
thank you.
I hope this was an enjoyable show.
I do as well, and I know that people might have been a little bit coming down on me for some of the stuff I said, but
It was kind of like for me. There were two things going on in my head, which is one, holy shit, Grakees, you just brought the hammer, and then my other one was, oh God, these meds are making me tired.
I could kind of see that because where my chat is on screen in OBS,
Yeah,
I could see like a quarter of your face.
Doublar say Thackeray. My name is Doublar Thackeray. Gwahir, you came just in time for the close, but don't worry. Well, the broadcast is in Twitch, past broadcasts, and one day when technology becomes advanced enough to handle Grakees, it will be also on YouTube.
Yep. I plan to put all 3 episodes up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Episode one, we really mean it, and episode 1, take 3, we really, really mean it this time.
Odin is asking, can I link, please? So if you have a link, Grakees, feel free to share it. So yeah, no, I'm currently on painkillers, and I've only just started taking them as of 5-6 hours ago, and so right now I'm in a special place. The downside, however, is I can't drink alcohol, so you can imagine how I'm feeling right now.
Sorry, loading's picture there. I'm not saying it's components, but it's components.
Oh my God, I think I've just woken up my neighbors. Loading, that's beautiful. We didn't do an Arthur Vin memorial. To be honest, I think that would have been a brilliant components twist. Unfortunately, I was too dulled of mind to raise it. But yeah.
I don't know that name off the top of my head. I have to
So
look it up now.
in around the verse 51, noted actor and entertainment celebrity Arthur Vin passed away at age 137.
Oh,
There has since been a law post following up on the life of Arthur Vin, and actually he passed away due to rejection of his artificial lungs.
Ah.
So he's had several artificial lung replacements, as is the want. But it talks about how your nervous system has to, be able to accept and kind of work with it. So, it kind of gives reasons why, with all this technology, we still have potentially short lifespans. This time I mean it. It was his catchphrase. So yeah, so I think it was because it was an interesting example of a component system.
That's so true. It is a component system. It's just the components sometimes go faulty, and well, they hug you from the inside out.
Which is one hell of a hug.
Yes.
It's like the Kitty Pryde of hugs.
I wish I had that power. That would be awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, so do we have anything in post-show from chat or anything, Grakees, you want to touch upon?
Phrasing. Yes, chat. This is the time where, I mean, we were more interactive with you guys than normal in this episode because it just kind of flowed that way.
I think to be honest, it was very much a case of I was like this, and I was like, wow, it was a flood of Grakees. Let's look for counterpoints. Yay!
I was talking a lot there, and I was like, God, rein yourself in.
I was
rein
so
yourself
happy.
in.
I was so happy. I felt bad though that you were carrying most of this, but
I thought I was over talking you a little bit, but I was hoping
no.
not. Good.
No,
Good.
I don't think so. I think you got. We probably talked for the same amount of time. It's just that you used more words per second.
I was very just. I went gremlin.
Yeah. So I noticed you both have exactly the same beard. Are you beard twins?
We don't have the same beard.
Well, actually, no. We don't have the same beard on our faces. Pirate Math, yes, I was being snarky a bit with it. Yeah, I noticed that, Parrot, but it was like it was kind of like the perfect moment where I went, oh really?
Yeah.
Oh. So I knew exactly you were being snarky, but it was such a beautiful execution.
His timing
like,
of it was just that was very well done, Kappa.
Because at the end of it, in my head, I heard the words zing.
Chris Kateros, hello.
Hey, Chris. So any other kind of comments or questions from chat?
Yeah, did we hit the major topics you wanted to hear about, or are there other things that came up this week that you want to hear our opinions expound upon?
Mm.
And we wait. We wait for those responses.
We wait.
And we wait.
So, Grakees, there was one person that we didn't talk about.
Oh, the person that we can't name just in case.
Yeah.
Sorry, it got interrupted by Parrot Math. I forgot about that from ATV. The sub-flare grouping coming out the poo easy.
To be honest, I love that pronunciation because could you imagine a coffee brand named that?
Oh.
Relax with a cup of poo easy.
It makes me giggle because I'm really a kid.
But yeah, so hang on. So a couple of things. So the Puisi, I mean, just as a background, this is actually named after a backer who has passed. Yeah, what a terrible last name. But respect, genuine respect. I do love the Puisi name because we have. There's a show. It's long gone. It was a semi-funny comedy show in Britain called Keeping Up Appearances, and the lady of the show, her name was Hyacinth Bouquet. Of course, it was spelt bucket.
Oh,
So each to their own. I do like how the Puisi, because I thought it was Puglisi. I always thought that was going to include more things other than space rock. That's going to be awesome.
they mentioned
Um,
that it was, yeah.
Now going down the list, we have AKA Ronan saying, "What do you guys think of the Hornet? Don't you think it is oversized and overpowered?" It's the white van of. If you ever, I don't drive. I've been in a white van, having it been driven around, and it's a cumbersome beast.
Yes.
Um, uh,
It's the battleship of the fighter jets. It's meant to take a punch and give a punch, but
yeah.
it is not going to fight well against the agile. Agile ships are going to have a bit of an advantage against it being able to hold position if the pilot knows what they're doing.
Now, I don't think it's oversized and overpowered. I think the Canard Super Hornet is just a blitzkrieg of weaponry. But the regular Hornet, I think, is just like a regular ship. The thing that has always made a ship different in my eyes is the skill of the pilot. Now, I'm a terrible pilot. Okay, so
No, you're not. I've seen worse. I have.
that is the kind of thing that's a compliment, yet it also will keep me up at night. Um, but at the same time, I recently had a dogfight with a Hornet in my 325A, and I got a kill and I held my own. Um, um, so I don't know what the extenuating factors are. I think it's just that you have to kind of work out the strengths of your ship and the weaknesses of theirs so that you create the right approach. Everything has a weakness. Um, and I think for most, you can reduce your own weakness simply by not being eager and call your shots.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I I think what you'll find is, and I secretly hope that there may be a lot of Hornet pilots who are using um, their ship as a weapons superiority platform, who may not be learning some of the finer moves and various other sods. So for their own sake, I hope to God that they're mixing it up a bit, so they're not just relying on that.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know if that answers that, but hopefully it has. And we have new plating subflare. We've got Vandal plates, which is quite cool. Cyber, you've tried. You asked Grakees about World of Warships. Have you tried it?
I did try it. I enjoy it. I have up to tier 3 cruiser in Japan, and I'm working towards other ships. It just takes a lot of time and a lot of matches, and I'm probably going to play it even more. It's just there's so many games to play, and I try to stick to the space games at least for streaming.
I don't have any time, so when I do stream, it's going to be based. When I do game, it's going to be always on stream. So I'm always going to try to focus on space games. So unfortunately, I won't be playing World of Warships, even though I secretly think it's great training for what could be the eventual piloting mechanic for larger ships within Star Citizen.
I keep getting that sense that tactical combat for capital ships it might be a little like that.
I'd say even like A90 Jump or those kind of large ships. I think the Connie may be slightly, I don't know where, it's probably just on that kind of cusp as to which way it could go for combat
Yeah,
or
the
flying.
Connie's going to be a little bit more agile than something that size, but once you get up to the 890 or larger ships, yeah, you're going to get a lot of slow turning, drifting that you have to account for. You know, when to reverse, when to move forward. It's going to be like boats in space.
The space, no, I can't even do it. What
The
happened?
hug boat.
Soon we'll be making another
The
run.
run. Exactly.
So underscore goes, what happened to the other Empire Report anchor? Are you talking about the sports commentator?
Oh, how they replaced him with the different guy?
So no,
Did
there
they?
was no. They had Alan Nuevo and Russum, and then they've got a new one came in who's the He's sports commentator, so I automatically think Alan Partridge. I
Oh,
don't know if
okay.
that carries
I
across to the US, but
I have to. Oh, I hate to say it, but I don't pay attention to the Empire Report stuff. I don't like it. I don't.
it's got better in that,
A little bit.
yeah.
It's just so many of them annoyed me so much that I I don't know. It just didn't hit the mark earlier on, and I kind of went, ugh. It's one of those things where sometimes I would groan at it, like I'd feel embarrassed for it, and if I feel embarrassed for something, I have to take my headset off. I'm like, oh, I feel bad about this.
You know, I'm not judging you. I'm accepting you. I'm accepting you really hard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
not my cup of tea.
yeah, so basically, with the Empire Report, they've done 2 batches of filming at least. The first batch, they've gone through most of the content. The second batch, they've got the new third anchor in. But yeah, I'm kind of curious when we'll see more of him. Um, how do you think this shield system will work, Grakees, if I use 4 lights? Would it be focused on forward shield and backward shield, aka 1 light shield per angle, or would it be general bonus all around with 4 shields? Pirate math.
Unknown at this time.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of speculation behind it. My guess it would be similar to the current shield system. No, it would be current. It would be like the current shield system. They already said if you have 4 lights, you could put a medium in. 4 gives you versatility. 1 gives you an all-around super heavy coverage. So if you put the versatility in, you could probably fix it where you could switch what is generating where or blend.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
And to be
But
honest,
that's all speculation.
it's all speculation. When more will come out, the thing I'm kind of curious about how this works with the repair mechanic, especially if you're thinking about your shields are shot, for example. It now opens up a range of options in terms of how you approach things, especially when you're in the heat of fire. What kind of compromises do you make? It's going to be some rapid decision making. Mammon goes, do you think CIG should sell the F8 Lightning? Sort of made the rounds this week. Grakees, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
No.
No.
Actually, there was no yes in there at all. We were pretty much on
Yeah.
the same page. That's like selling an F-22 Raptor to United.
Yeah.
We're not doing it. It's a military
doing it.
craft. The stuff that they're selling is concept. They even said they could make a lot of money selling the Lightning, but its lore in universe and its position is it's a military craft. It's not something for civilians because it's the new top of the line stuff. So no, you don't get it. There's no civvy version at this point.
Yeah. And I hope that gives the reason as to why people are saying no. Panda. So we're controller agnostic in that play what makes you happy with what makes you happy. But I would never laugh at anybody using HOTAS Panda simply because it's fucking hard. Grakees, how many hours of stick have you put in? And yes, I said it that way.
I know you said it that way. Star Citizen only or Lifetime?
Give us both.
Star Citizen only, I'm probably up to about total 500 hours maybe.
And lifetime?
Over 10,000 at this point.
There you go.
Between X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, X-Wing Alliance, and on and on and on. If I go through every game that I've used a joystick with and played with, I'm at that 10,000 level. And there's still stuff to learn.
Yeah, and I'm at a ridiculously low level. I haven't broken 100 hours. I probably haven't broken 50 hours. But the joy of HOTAS is it's the analog control in a digital world. The flexibility of movement, of freedom, how it influences your flying, how it then influences your approach and spatial awareness of the game. It all kind of layers in. It's obviously right now a death wish if you're going against a lot of mouse and keyboard players who are good. But at the same time, it's just fantastic.
And
So but it takes
CIG has
time.
admitted they know the controls are not
Yeah.
balanced, and balance is typically something that comes in a lot later. And because of the way they're doing these releases, they kind of got to push it ahead. But I'm not expecting it to be fully balanced. I'm just expecting it to be some level of fun and close enough that it isn't huge canyons of disparaging differences between control types.
Yeah, and Panda, I think you've been in my chat a few times. I think you followed as well. But whenever I play Star Citizen, and when that happens, you'll obviously get the email or get the alert or whatever. Always know that it's basically beginner time. So if you ever want to kind of come in and do some pew pew with myself and other people, traditionally it's the spirit of play. It's not the winning. It's the experiencing and trying to get better. So you're more than welcome.
Yep. And I just have to say real quick, Arc X10, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to the Huggers, and thank you for that follow. And hello, Green
Awesome
Avenger.
sauce.
Haven't seen you around in a little while.
Green, I am so looking for. Oh shit!
What?
I'm on painkillers for my leg. I can't drink alcohol. I've got Gamescom and CitizenCon coming up.
Oh.
Yeah, because
Just don't take the painkillers that day.
I think I may have to do that. I think I'll go without painkillers, Green, so you and I can have a few pints.
The alcohol will be your painkiller.
As it so often is.
The cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
It's like, oh, are you in pain? Yes, I'm dealing with my late teenage years, my early 20s. Don't mind me.
And Ronan, I'm looking at that picture you showed. The picture of the Herald there is not new. That's pretty much the one that they've showed off. But the fact that they're getting the inspiration for the engines from what looks like a modified... Is that a Saturn V rocket?
I think it may be. Hang on.
Looks like it could be a Saturn V rocket, but essentially the current, space rocket engines and stuff, that's new, showing us where that inspiration comes from. But the Herald is something we've seen looking like that. That's the new symmetrical Herald. Some people might really love it, and that's okay. I do not personally like it anymore. I do not like the look of it because that symmetry it took the cute asymmetrical ugly components that they had for it and turned it into symmetrically ugly, so you just get ugly. In my personal taste, to me it's an ugly ship. Some people might love it. I don't like it.
Just as a couple of things, I thought painkillers worked better with alcohol. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, Croland. Yeah. At least these ones. I'm taking cocodamol, 30 milligram, 500 milligrams. So just previously, I was taking some meds, and if I had even mouthwash, any trace of alcohol, I'd be violently sick. This is basically another form of that. But unfortunately, I've been having Tourette's level swearing with the odd pain attack I've been getting. So I needed something to kind of, keep me moving.
That's also why I gave you the filter today. I figured you could let loose too a little bit. The language filter thing.
Oh, great. The pain meds have kicked in. Shit, you should have done this last week because I could have sworn up a storm.
Maybe I'll do this flag for every one of our podcasts because fuck it if we get the explicit warning for it. This will be our break free and be able to be adults with our language in general.
I'm British and bring them with you, Doublar. We can get... Oh, Green? Yes. We'll do this. I'll bring that. We'll have some Nuki Browns and we'll huff nail polish remover.
Oh my god! No, he does not condone doing this, Twitch. Twitch, he does not condone doing this.
I'm actually just quoting from the comic Viz.
Okay, good.
There's a character called 8-Ace, so don't worry, it's all good.
I just feel the TOS knife behind me right now.
Yeah. Green's well into it. Yeah, no, so it's so I'm very happy to I've not been streaming the last couple of days because I've just been wanting to kind of rest up, so I'm very happy I was able to do this chat. Anything else from peeps. How exactly are they supposed to balance the controllers? I mean, the current issues are inherent problems with using that type of controller, I would think.
Not necessarily. Honestly, right now the problem is that mouse gives you both flight control and precision of aiming at the same time, except when you're in a fixed weapon system. If you're in a fixed weapon system, you use virtual joystick with the mouse, and then you're actually almost on an even playing field. Because I've used mouse and keyboard. I had to for a while when I had my carpal tunnel fixed, and changed the title. I didn't change the title. I don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, the I've used mouse and keyboard. I have a gamepad, and I've used that to play around with it. I've used a joystick. Gamepad's a little off, but that's control curve stuff. So the thing that is not balanced between them is that you get that level of precision and flight controls simultaneously. That's why mouse and keyboard is, people are constantly, like about it a little bit, because they get that level of aiming. Now, if you take that back and you do virtual joystick and regular joystick, you're going to put them all on pretty much an even playing field. And then if you add a track IR, someone mouse and keyboard, or a joystick user, now they're all on the same level. So if you want to head look and aim, or if you want to head look on the joystick, you have to flip a control and head look and try to gimbal. And on the mouse and keyboard, you're going to have to flip over from your flight controls. So it's going to force everyone to make those choices live on the fly, or, well, you have to have a ton of peripherals to pull it off, and you can't stop people from using peripherals.
So a couple of quick things have just come up. Cyber.
Oh, Cronin. I see what he's saying. Sorry, I just wanted to respond to that. Title change.
You want to respond to that in any way?
Yeah, title change. Show is in a different direction at this point. So.
And so Cyberwolf and to Grakees. So the problem isn't with the controls themselves. It's gimbals giving an advantage to mice because of the way the controls are set up. Now, I just want to quickly jump in on this because I saw a couple of really interesting how to improve and fix things posts, which I can't really kind of get into the details here, but maybe we should at some point, maybe not because we'll just be feeling the debate a bit much, kind of go into it. But one of the things they had was about a circle and another circle in terms of how the fixed and gimbaled work in terms of lock and targeting. So it's not, it takes some of the advantage of auto targeting, but at the same time, it's not an auto target because you have to have a manual flight approach, which I think could be a very great balancer because it then puts it down to the skill of the pilot. But without compromising necessarily the controllers that are actually making that happen. And if there had to be compromises, it could probably be factored very nicely in.
I'm still for the current control system now using virtual joystick. And yes, gimbals are the big problem right now because you can aim, fly, shoot all at once. On top of that, there are sub issues too, and there's a breadth of them. Mouse doesn't, when you go, if you don't have a high DPI mouse, then you start having more problems with flight control on fixed, so aiming becomes a bit more difficult. Joystick, if you go into fixed, there's the problem where there isn't actual true convergence on your weapons, so if you get your first shot off with one of the guns, you get that initial hit, and then the convergence happens on the second shot because now your computer's like, oh, I got a hit. All right, now I converge the shots. And someone's usually moved by then, so you've only winged them instead of actually getting all 3 or 2 or whatever guns converged onto one point where you're trying to fire at. And then joystick also has this issue where it gets hoppy in that central area, almost like the ESP system is freaking out. It acts almost like a, same sides of magnet. North, and they don't match up. They push away, repelling magnet. So, that's kind of what goes on with that. It's a lot of little issues all under the hood, and they're working on it. I mean, that's the bottom line with it, is they are working on it. They're holding meetings on it. It's just to get that stuff right. Usually you have to wait a lot longer in a project, and they've got to move it up and rush it. So there are community people that are working with them too and giving them ideas
Yeah.
that actually like know game systems and stuff. So
So I'm about dead on my feet, but I think Ilarath makes a fun and interesting comment. First time I heard virtual joystick was when you asked me if I used it or a real joystick, Grakees, and I still don't know what it is.
that's another definition thing.
I think it is. Shall we save it, or shall we kind of do it now?
We can do that one now because we talked about it a lot. It's a side
Go for it.
definition. The virtual joystick system is essentially it turns your mouse into a joystick. So if you pull your mouse in a direction, it's acting as the joystick at that point. It's not dragged to the side of the screen with an aiming reticle and then your ship starts turning. Your mouse is now your joystick. So you take your joystick, you pull back, ship tips up. Mouse, you slide down, your ship starts tipping up. Because centering where you are is like centering your joystick. Moving the mouse to those locations is like moving the joystick. So it mimics joystick movements. That's what a virtual joystick is. Star Citizen uses something a little different, but that's essentially what a virtual joystick is.
Cool beans. So I think that's us for the post show. Are you going to be streaming after this, Crackies, or is that you?
No, that's it for me for the day, because I try to plan my family stuff now for Thursdays. So, we do the podcast, and we talk with you guys and everything else, and then I can actually get stuff done because it turns out one day a week is not nearly enough. So,
Yeah, and it's 1:30 a.m. here. I've got an early start tomorrow as well, so roll on Saturday, shall I say. So, yeah, I hope that helped answer your question about the virtual joystick. I'm going to say bye to everyone. Again, if for some reason you want to follow either myself or Grakees, please do so if you haven't followed already. I'm giving away ships when I hit 250. I'm about, I think, 50 odd away from there, so they are in with a chance. But if you do follow, stick around. It's not just ships, it's also crashing.
oh, hugs. All the hugs.
All the hugs.
Bye, everyone.
So here, take care, everyone, and have absolutely lovely rest of Thursday, rest of the week. And I'll talk to you next time.
Oh, and don't forget to stop by Bad News Baron's channel tomorrow. As a part of Bad News Gaming, I definitely have to say that. It's his birthday this weekend, so, go and stop by his stream and see, because he was going to be doing something with games.
Awesome sauce.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.